Good evening. The time is 7:06. Sorry for the delay. And we'll be starting our November 17th Board of Select Persons meeting. Please join me for the flag salute. I look for a motion to approve the November 10th meeting minutes.
So moved. Second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. I look for a motion to accept the warrants.
So moved. Second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I see none. All those in favor? And would somebody read the announcements, please?
Okay, the town clerk, tax collector will close on Fridays at noon for the remainder of the year. There will be a flu clinic on Tuesday, November 18th here at the municipal building in the media room from 10 to 3 p.m. with a lunch break from 12 to 1. The forms are available at the municipal building ahead of time and on the town website. The planning board will meet on Wednesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. has been canceled. The budget committee will meet on Thursday, November 20th at 7 p.m. And the select board will meet on Monday, November 24th at 7 p.m. The town office will be closed on Thursday, the 27th. And there will be a special town meeting on Wednesday, December 10th at the fire station to discuss the changing of the town clerk, tax collector from elected positions to appointed positions. The public is urged to attend. The select board is looking for members to join a comprehensive committee. If interested, please contact Alicia at 793-4475 or the select board admin at limerickme.org. And as part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org. And Town of Limerick notice, public hearing, a minor subdivision. The Limerick Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 for Homes in Different Area Codes, LLC, a 4-unit minor subdivision. Hearing to be held at 7 p.m. at the Limerick Municipal Building, 55 Washington Street, Limerick, first floor media room. To receive information in conjunction with the proposed application for a minor subdivision for Andrew Javaris, and the 2 units in each of the 2 duplexes on map 20, lot 50. All interested parties, please plan to attend. Aaron Carroll, Chairman, Limerick Planning Board. And also, Town of Limerick public notice of site walk minor subdivision. The Planning Board will be conducting a site walk on Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 at 4 p.m. The site walk has been scheduled in conjunction with a proposed application for a 4-unit minor subdivision for Andrew Javaris of Homes in Different Area Codes, LLC. 2 units will be in each of the 2 duplexes. The public is welcome to attend. Aaron Carroll, Chairman, Limerick Planning Board.
Perfect. Thank you. Next on the agenda, I have department reports, and I have Eric Street, EcoMaine Director of Recycling.
Folks, thank you very much. I appreciate you inviting me over here tonight. My name's Eric Street. I'm the Director of Recycling for EcoMaine. I was asked to come tonight just to talk a little bit about EcoMaine, what we kind of do. We folks send your trash and recycling to EcoMaine. So we're just kind of reaching out to communities. You have a contract with us, which will be coming up in '28. So we'll just talk a little bit about that and some of the opportunities and some of the resources available. So what I really want to cover tonight is kind of who EcoMaine is, what our mission statement, kind of a little bit about our facilities and programs, a little bit about our annual report, outreach and education, EPR. I don't know if you're familiar with that, with the Extended Producer Responsibility Program, as well as our vision for the future. So who is EcoMaine? We're a nonprofit 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization that connects. We have 69 communities. 27 of those are owner communities. The rest are made up of contract communities, such as yourself. We go down up as far as coast as Lemoyne, and we go down into northern New Hampshire. A little bit about the history of EcoMaine. Back in the 1976-78 was when it was under Regional Waste Systems. They formed a transfer station and a landfill at that time. So there was, I believe there was 4 or 5 communities that got together. They developed the landfill and they would bale the trash, send it to the landfill, and go from there. It was in 1985, 88 when they actually built the waste to incinerator. So we have that today. It's in operation. In the early 1990s to 2005, they started a recycling program in EcoMaine. And then 2006 through today, we have a current recycling program, which is a single sort facility where they have processing equipment and so forth to handle that coming in. Jumping around here, hold on a minute. Sorry. So what does EcoMaine do? As again, I mentioned, we have a waste incinerator. We do about 200,000 tons a year that goes through that plant. We generate enough for about 35,000 tons of recycling a year. It goes into our recycling facility. We have a ash landfill. It's about 245 acres. And then we also work with a company called AgriCycle Energy. So we do food waste diversion to that. So they have a digester up in Exeter, Maine. Used to be a big dairy farm operation, and they started adding food waste into their program. So we've coupled with them and have had good success with that. A couple things about EcoMaine. We have a couple different certifications. One is the ISO 14001, which is the environmental performance. So we have very high standards for what we do there. That covers all 3 of the facilities, the waste to energy, the recycling, as well as the landfill. And we also have ISO 4501, which is the safety certification. So we have very strict safety policies to make sure all of our employees are safe and in compliance with our regulations. Just a little bit about our annual report. So our theme for this year is Let's Grow. So we are looking to grow. We're looking to bring in new recycling tons. I'll talk a little bit more about that and our new recycling facility that's going to be under construction soon. So I don't know if anybody has ever met Kevin. This is Kevin Roach. He's our general manager of the facility. But we are looking to bring in new communities. We've had a good, strong year financially. We're looking to a new facility that's coming on board for the recycling center. We'll talk a little bit about EPR, waste to energy. We'll talk to you a little bit about electricity and so forth. We're making a bunch of landfill improvements and expansions. So it's important as our communities grow, we want to grow with them. We want to make sure we put the resources into our facilities to be able to handle that. We actually have a little band down here. It's called Talking Trash. So they actually have it's played at some of our annual meetings and so forth. So they have a good time there as well. So just a little bit about, we do a regional approach. So,
No, let me just, there we go.
there we go. Sorry about that. So we have, what makes us stand out a little bit different than some other organizations, that we are regional approach to waste management. So you can see we're kind of speckled across the state. Again, we have, in 25, we had 9 new communities come on board. 7 of those were owner communities, and then we also had 2 contract communities come on. So we are looking to grow in these areas. A little bit about our growth. These are some of the new communities that come on. I think there was some interest to learning more about this. So this year we had Buxton, Kennebunk, North Berwick, Sanford, Shapley, and South Berwick. So those communities actually bought into EcoMaine. So there's an opportunity to do that if communities are interested in a long-term relationship. Or we still have contract communities. We had 2 new communities this year as well, Kennybunk and Old Orchard Beach joined us, so those are still available today. The owner ones, if there is interest in that, we can talk more about that. It's a little bit more involved. You can see some of the towns, just a little bit of a snapshot of what their tonnage is, what their buy-ins. So you're basically buying into EcoMaine, so there is an upfront cost to that. But is divided out over the period of time, so it makes it affordable for communities to come in on that. So we have a very diverse board of directors. That's one of the other benefits of a regional approach. So we have about 32 members that come together from these owner communities. So depending on their size, excuse me, and population, they may have one. Usually most towns have one representative, but cities like Portland, South Portland, Scarborough might have 2 or up to 4 representatives on the board. So it actually works very well, allows for a pretty diverse group of people to come together, think outside the box. It allows for some regional organizations. So we have a group of 5 communities right now. They're exploring regional haul contract, getting together to do that. So it allows for a lot of thinking, and it brings some good ideas to the table. Just a little bit about some of the market, what's going on. You can see some of the highs and lows here. Our electrical, so we do generate electricity. We do about enough to power 15,000 homes. We power our facilities, the waste to energy plant, as well as the recycling facility. This year has been a pretty good year. You can see some of the prices. We've had a low of about $3 million in revenue from energy, and we've had a high this year of just about at $5 million, so it's been a good year for that. You can see kind of the breakdown of the tonnages of the products we deal with, so you can see that cardboard and paperboard are a pretty large percentage of what comes into the facility, and you can also see the revenue that we get from those materials down below. So those are pretty cyclical with markets, depends on where things are, prices go up and down with that. Just a little bit about cardboard. You can see some of the prices there. So we've had a high of 102 back in October 24. It's down around 72 right now. So again, it's dropped down a little bit. But again, it will be cyclical. It usually comes back around, and it all depends on this kind of supply and demand and what the markets are doing and what the demand is for the product. Mixed paper has been a challenge. That's one. Back in October, we were getting about $43 a ton for selling that material. In January of 25, it dropped down to a -2, and then you can see it rebound back up, and right now it's right around $4 a ton. So again, it depends on the market demands. Most of that is actually being exported right now, and we only have about 1 load a day that's being inside it's the domestic markets. Just a little snapshot of metal. You can see aluminum has been strong. Cans, those are fairly consistent over the years. Those are pretty reliable sources of income for recyclables. And plastics can vary too. You can see the highest is the PET, which is like the soda bottles, those types of things. Those plastics are pretty well up there in the market. And then the natural HDP, which is like your clear bottles. And then you have colored, like your laundry detergent and so forth like that. So again, it's very cyclical. The market really demands those pricings and what are folks looking for, the mill's looking for. Again, just a little snapshot, gives you the high and low of aluminum, natural HDP, cardboard, PET. So you can see they really shifted over that 10-year period, just to give you an idea of how those things can change. Landfill, as I mentioned, we got about 240-acre landfill. That is, we just invested in a new cell, so there's a new 3.3-acre cell that we just opened that gives us about 7 years of capacity. So again, this started out as a landfill for trash, but over the years, is when the waste incinerator came on board, so all we do is we landfill ash now. So I have some packets I'll leave here, folks. There's a good picture in there, but we get about a 10-to-1 reduction. So you can take 10 yards of trash, you get about a yard of ash out of it. So it makes sense from a landfilling perspective to try to make that go as long as we can. We're also always looking for new ways to increase our landfill space. So one of the things we did a few years ago was they actually went out and mined a section. So it's just technology changes. There's new ways to pull metals out of that old material. So when it goes through the incinerator, the ash comes out, and it's actually a magnet that pulls a lot of the big stuff out, but a lot of the other stuff went through. So a few years ago, they actually went in and they did a mining project, and they were able to recoup quite a bit of metal, so that pulls it out, gets additional revenue, and also creates quite a bit of airspace available for that. We just invested in a new pump station, so if you're familiar with landfills at all, you have leachate in the ground. If you have an old dump, you may have to deal with that, the runoff. So we have a new pump station, a new 30,000-gallon tank. So again, we're making improvements in our facilities for the years to come. We have capacity right now well into the 2040s to keep going the way we're doing it. And again, we're trying to extend that all the time. One of the new programs we've been working on is the multifamily recycling. So it's been quite challenging in any community that has multifamily housing. It's such a turnover if you have apartments and so forth, to try to get them in a successful recycling program. So EcoMaine was successful in getting an EPA grant, so they were able to bring some people on staff. So they've been actually going out, working with these facilities to see what are the challenges, how can we boost the recycling, and how can we make it more accessible to these families. So we have Piper Shores, which is a senior living facility out in Scarborough, Cape Elizabeth, but we also work with a number of, they've got, 500, I think there's 508 units that are actually enrolled, and they're working with another 900 or so. So they're trying to get into those facilities to find out the challenges and how we can help assist them with their recycling programs. So again, some of the things they're doing with this initiative is material signage, on-site evaluations, implementation of support, flyers, digital resources, and informational workshops. So EcoMaine, outside of this, has a whole educational outreach department. So they have a communications director. They also have folks that will come out if you have a transfer station. You had an open house here, you had some event in your community, they could come out and be part of that and help educate folks on the recycling, on programs, what can or can't be recycled, and all that good stuff that goes with it. Excuse me, or I lose my voice completely. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was EPR. So I don't know if folks are familiar with that, but in 2021, the state adopted the EPR law, which is Extended Producer Responsibility. And then over the last few years, they've been working on the actual rules itself within the law. So it actually is scheduled to take effect in '26 to be implemented. And what that means is that the producers, there'll be assessed a fee based on what they produce. So there's categories, whether it's readily recyclable or not. So part of the goal is to try to steer producers that are making these products to get to something that's readily recyclable. So I had a transfer station in Yarmouth. It was a challenge because there was so many different types of packaging, so many different types of materials coming in. It was difficult for folks to know what they could bring in, what could be recycled. Part of it could be, so a lot of confusion about that. So part of it, we're hoping to address that and try to get packaging kind of on a more sustainable field, so they were using the same materials across the board. The other thing, what it means for communities, if you have recycling programs, those expenses, a portion of those expenses are eligible for reimbursement. So if you have a recycling program now, you're going to have to do some tracking if you choose to be part of this. But if you have transportation costs, if you have infrastructure costs, if you have staff overhead, those types of things, we're investing in a new recycling facility at EcoMaine. So even a portion of that expense that you folks pay into would be eligible for reimbursement. So there's still more to come with that as far as what the actual reimbursement amounts would be. We've heard anywhere from 25% up to 75%, but there's a lot to go into that. So, but that rolls out starting in January, and the actual reimbursements won't start until 2027. So that first year, January, is when they start putting the program together. They have what they call an SO, which is basically the program coordinator that gets picked by the Department of Environmental Protection, and they will get this ball rolling, and hopefully they'll start to get this underway. So it's kind of long overdue. You know, a number of communities kind of struggle with the cost of recycling. It does cost. There is a cost to it. When we recognize that, so this is one way to get some money back into the communities to help offset those costs. So it's definitely well paying attention to and participating in. A little more about EPR. There's seven states that have EPR, Maine being one of them. There's 10 that have introduced EPR legislation in 25. So it is kind of catching on. This is big in Europe. So a lot of the big manufacturers, the Coca-Colas, anybody, and packaging is everything from tin cans to paper packaging to detergent bottles. So it covers a lot of different things. It's not just the paper side of it. It's anything that comes in a package can actually be part of this. So it's good to keep an eye on this. There's some training stuff coming up through Maine Resource Recovery, but we're trying to get the word out about this as well and making sure communities are aware of this. So whether you're an EcoMaine member or contract member or owner, you know, or whoever you contract with, that you can be eligible for this if you want to participate in it. The other thing with EcoMaine, obviously we value the people that we have on our staff. So you have a variety of folks. We have a couple folks there that were there since the place was built back in the early 80s. We do a lot to invest in those people, keep those people here. With training, we do a lot with the young professionals to keep them engaged and so forth. And they have some internship programs. So most of the folks that work on the waste energy side are Maine Maritime graduates. So we actually have an internship program with them to bring them in. They come in and get used to it, and you know, we've had fairly good success with keeping those folks afterwards. So, but we recognize the importance of keeping good quality people on staff. One of the things we have coming up is a new MRF, which is a material recycling facility, is what that stands for. We're in the process of a new recycling plant, so I don't know if anyone's come down and taken a tour. You can come down and see the campus and go through the different sections. But you can see the circled area, it says new MRF. There's a warehouse that used to be Yankee Sturbridge Workshop. If you ever go by, you can see it from the main turnpike. We were able to lease that building, and we're going to build a new recycling facility inside of that. So the current plant's about 20 years old. It's pretty well, it's at its end of life. We're keeping it going. We have probably another year. This is slated to come online in the fall of 27, fall of 26, excuse me. So we've got a ways to go with the old facility. But what this will do, we'll jump up from 15,000 tons, I think it's from 35,000 tons up to 50,000 tons a year. So we'll have better capacity, we'll have better ability to sort materials. So when the first plant was built, it was primarily newspapers. We didn't have the packaging requirements that we have today. So a lot of things have changed. So the new facility, I'll show some pictures, will have optical sorters, it will have robotics, it will have computers. So it's really a state-of-the-art facility, whereas the one today, you know, really relies on screens and air and different things to do the separation. But it's quite an operation to see. If you haven't had a chance, I would encourage you to do that. And we'll also have additional educational opportunities with the new facility. So the new facility has a second floor on one end of it. So we do tours for schools, for public, for our folks, any community wants to come down. So there will be basically a mezzanine, a catwalk, and you can actually walk and overlook the whole facility and see how it works. So, and again, we'll be able to grow. So we're looking for additional recycling tons to bring into this new facility. Again, more efficient process, cleaner output. So part of the challenge we have today is our equipment really isn't set up for what's coming into the plant. So when we think about paperboard, we think about plastics, there is a certain amount of contamination gets into those just because we can't sort it as clean as we'd like to. So the new facility will allow us to better do that, which will also help us with markets. So we get folks that have stricter or higher standards on materials and they want to have stuff clean, so this will allow us to do that. We also will have the ability to change, so as our needs grow or as packaging changes, these new optical sorters can actually be programmed to pick up different materials. So if you want to change it, 2 years down the road, you can program it in to do something different. So the old MRF does about 1.5 tons per hour. The new one will jump us up to, 15 tons per hour. The new one will jump us up to 25. We have one optical sorter now. The new one will have 12. So it's quite a difference in what the new facility will be. And this is kind of a layout of it. You can see on the right-hand side, the little bump out. That's actually the tipping floor where the trucks will come in or dump the material, and then it gets fed into the conveyor systems, and then the rest of that is all the processing equipment where it gets sorted out. We do papers, we do mixed paper, we do plastics, we do tin, so really 4 different types of commodities, and we'll be able to do others depending on market demands. This will also give us a fair amount of bale storage inside, so those block areas are bales inside, and then you can see the 4 trailers sitting on the outside for where we will load out of. Again, just another snapshot of some of the different pieces of equipment that'll be all computer run. So it's be pretty something to see when it's all up and going. Just a little bit about our outreach. So, again, I mentioned we have a communications department, so we do a lot with main schools. We do a lot with the communities. When I was in Yarmouth, we had Yarmouth Clam Festival. They used to be part of that. They were at our transfer station quite a bit, and they did educational programs. We have a number of different programs for schools, so you can apply for grants for your school if you're an Eco-Maine community. They'll help you with different projects. They also have the Eco Excellence Award. I don't know if you folks have ever participated in that, but if you have an area or a business or somebody that's doing good and you want to recognize them, you can apply. You can submit their name for that award. And again, if you're interested in that, again, we could have more. We can give you more information on the educational programs. There's some of these packets that I'll leave tonight. If you're interested in having a team come out and talk to you, or we can put you in touch with our educators, and somebody can come out and help you with any of these issues. So just a little snapshot. Community, I want to talk a little bit about recycling. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but just an idea of tonnage. So you can see your tonnage across the top is your MSW tonnage. So we go back as far as, I think it's 2016 up to today. So you can see you started around 1,370 tons. Today you're around 1,740 tons of MSW trash. So most communities have seen that uptick. Maybe if they've grown, they're starting to see more trash. The bottom line is your recycling tonnage. So in 2016 you were 101, and today you're right around, I think it's 85. So pretty flat across the bottom. So we're hoping, again, we'd love to see that increase. We think there's opportunities for that to increase. We're hoping that EPR provides some of that relief to do that, because again, we know it's challenges for smaller communities to get that up and going, to get people engaged, to have drop locations and so forth like that. But just a little snapshot of what you're doing. And again, the circle on the left-hand side, you have about a 5% recycling rate. We think it's possible that you could get that to 15%. And again, if there's cost associated with that, to ramp that up, that's why the CPR is so important, because you can actually recoup some of those costs back to help offset that. So we're hoping to keep communities engaged with their recycling programs, as EPR will do that. We've seen communities back away from recycling because of expenses, so hopefully they can bring that back. But it's challenging to have it, do away with it, and then try to bring it back again. It's confusing for folks. So we hope that this provides some incentive to keep going and also to grow these programs. So just in summary, we're looking to grow. We feel, by having more members, it gives us a bigger economy of scale, so we can share in the risk, we can share in the awards, we can use input from other communities and kind of value those resources that are available to us. We're looking to grow. We're committed to the waste hierarchy, so we have reduce, reuse, recycle, then we have compost, waste to energy, and then landfill. All of those have intricate parts. They're all necessary. We're looking to obviously grow and improve safety, recycling. Organics is another big one. We're looking to increase that, to get that out of the waste stream. It doesn't burn well, it doesn't produce great electricity, so the better we can pull that stuff out, the better off we are. And then, we think obviously growth and outreach is a big part of that as well. So, a lot of information. Again, I've got packets here. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and my contact information's in there, so if you want to get a hold of me, you're welcome to do that as well. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any questions?
Yes, sir.
Where's your landfill?
It's right in Portland, so part of it's in Portland, Scarborough, right along the main turnpike right there. So it's actually 2.5 miles from the waste to energy plant. So it's pretty unique today to have a landfill so close by to the waste incineration. So we're really fortunate there. We don't have the long trucking costs and so forth like that.
And what are the benefits of buying into EcoMaine? Is that like a shareholder or?
Yep, you'll become owner. So again, I don't have the formula with me, but they would look at your population, look at your tonnage and so forth, and they would figure out what that buy-in cost would be. So if we go back, you can just see some examples of,
Like, can you invest just $1,000 or?
no, but what they do, so you can see like, I don't know, I can't remember what your population is, but like South Berwick has, there's, where are we here? So they're like their tonnages. So, if you're in the 700-800 tons, their recycling tons, so their buy-in was 364,000. So and then what you do is they basically divide that. I think it's either 20 or 30 years that you're allowed to pay into that. So there's no interest on that. It's kind of an interest-free loan that EcoMaine's doing to provide you the opportunity to buy in. So instead of having to come up or go to a bond or go to some special vote for a large sum, it breaks it down into a smaller amount that communities can absorb. I think the benefits is if you're looking for something long-term, you don't want to deal with a contract every so many years. You want to have something that your community, it's set, it's kind of put to rest. You can see on the right-hand side, like today, contract rates are $125 for trash and $130 for recycling. So you guys, right now, you have very favorable rates. Your recycling is at $130, but your waste, I believe, is $70.50. So you were one of the communities that came in quite a few years ago, had a long-term contract. When those come due, those terms won't be available. So you'll be looking, wherever you go, you'll be looking at a much higher rate for disposal. The owner communities today are paying, I think it's $107 a ton for their trash, $85 a ton for their recycling. So there's a difference on the cost of that tonnage that you pay as an owner community, but again, you buy in. But you'll be part owner, so you'll get a seat at the table, you'll have a representative on the board, you get to be part of their discussion, part of the budgets. Every year, they set the rates, so they did just set them for fiscal year 27. So those are, yes. And those came in, I think they did I think they were 119. They ended up with both recycling and the trash rates for the communities. So there's usually a cheaper rate. It gives you the benefit of being an owner, having a seat, having a say in what goes on, and it gives you long-term security. Or if you didn't want to do that, you can continue to do the same type of thing. You could have a 5-year contract, 3-year contract, 20-year contract. We would work to do that as well for waste as well as recyclables.
If you're an owner community, is there a cap on the increase annually?
Yeah, so the board will sets those rates every year. So we have a 5-year plan that those rates are projected out. but the board discussed. So we were trying to actually, because of EPR, Kevin was trying to get the recycling rate. Our true recycling rate's about $130 to process recycling. So the owner communities are at 85 right now. We were trying to get that higher because we know that money is gonna be, there's gonna be a percentage of that that's reimbursable. So we're leaving, if we don't get up to that rate, we're basically leaving money on the table that isn't hard. Part of the problem with EPR is that it starts in January of '26, but reimbursements don't start until '27. So if you wanted to make improvements to your recycling program, you have to fund those for a year before you're eligible to get reimbursements for those. So some of the communities didn't want to go to that 130 mark, so that's why they ended up at the I think it was 119, that they ended up at for the recycling. So to kind of go into it a little bit more slowly, and let EPR kind of prove itself out. There's still some unknowns. Obviously, this is a new program. There's going to be some hiccups along the way, and some learning curves, but hopefully after that year, get that first year under us, get the reporting done, get stuff moving and get it into the system, and it hopefully will smooth out and prove beneficial for communities to be part of that.
The problem I have with the people recycling is they all say, well, we're not gonna recycle because if there's no market, they burn it.
We do not burn it. So
that's one thing I want you to
Yeah.
explain what happens to it.
Yeah, everything comes in. So EcoMain's in it for the long run. So even when it doesn't seem to make sense financially, we were actually paying to get rid of paper. I showed you that one slide where it was down to -$2. Because we believe in the process, we believe that that's the right thing to do, and our communities that sign on with us, for the most part, believe that's the right thing to do. That was a question that comes up. It said, well, why don't you just burn it? If you're losing money, why not just burn it? But when we put it into the waste incinerator, we have tons coming in at 125 that we displace. So basically you lose money when you start putting those cheaper products into the burn, and it doesn't make sense, and it creates a lot of confusion. So we stay true to the model, to the waste hierarchy, even when it hurts a little bit to do that, knowing that the markets will change. So we have downtimes in the market where things aren't great, and then we have things when they shoot back up, we do it. So in the long run, we do it. But we get that question all the time, and there's confusion over trucks, and a lot of trucks are 2-compartment trucks. A lot of curbside programs pick up 2 different totes, and everybody thinks it goes in the same bucket. It doesn't. It goes in 2 separate places on the truck, and it gets tipped at 2 different places on the floors at the facility.
At the transfer station, we have a new compactor for our household waste, and we take in between 20 and 30% of the household waste monthly. But we can more or less control that, what goes into the compactor. But we can't control what's being picked up curbside.
Yeah.
And I think we have a tremendous amount of demolition that is being picked up curbside that we don't benefit from, because I think our tonnage for the size of our community is quite high. And I don't know how to get it down.
Yeah, curbside can be a challenge depending on how it's structured. So if a community has control of the curbside, if they contract and you basically said all the town of Limerick, this is how we're gonna do it, and you pay for it, then you have that contract with a hauler, and you can set those limits. So you can say, thou shalt pick up this. If not, you don't. When I was in Yarmouth, we had kind of a similar situation. We had a transfer station, but we had bags, we had trash bags, pay as you throw. So anything that came into our transfer station had to be in a blue bag. Our council also decided that they wanted to keep the bags in the curbside program as well. It's a private subscription program, so the town had no contract with it. You just wanted the convenience of having it picked up. You could call Casella or Pine Tree, and they would come pick it up. And then you just pay for the transportation and the convenience of the pickup. Yarmouth still paid the tip fee when it got to EcoMain. So in a similar challenge, we had folks that would comply with a bag, some that wouldn't. We don't have contracts with the hauler, so it became difficult to police that unless we're out physically going and checking to do that, which we just didn't have the resources to do it. In recycling, you typically will see lower in a curbside program than you will at a transfer station, because you just don't, for that very reason, you don't have the oversight of it. So you get a lot of either contamination, or you get folks that mixing. And if there's no contract or no real teeth in that to support it and to enforce it, you will have some challenges with it.
We do well with our OBW, the oversized bulky waste that you burn. So that cuts down on the landfill.
Yeah.
Anything that goes to a landfill. So we can control that pretty well, but it's the household waste that I have, problem trying to control, because it is quite high per person for the town.
Yeah.
And it always has been. And I sometimes say we've got to be the cleanest town in York County, because it's just amazing what they bring in.
Yeah.
I was comparing Old Orchard Beach. I don't know what their population is, but they're 2,260 ton. And you say ours was 170?
Where are you?
And I go by my monthly,
You're about,
statements.
your MSW is 1740, and your recycling is 86.
And is that actual tons?
That's actual tons.
Because
So that's in,
I
that's for
add up
fiscal year.
my monthly bills.
Yeah,
And I don't come up with that much.
okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't know the exact, this is MSW, so I don't know what's included in your MSW so like bulky, I don't know if you get separate bill for that, or, yeah,
we get
okay.
3 separate bills.
Yeah.
One for the single sort, one for
Yeah.
MSW, and one for OBW.
Do you know where your curbside goes? Do you have haulers now? Somebody could call a hauler and have some pick them up?
They're supposed to limit only one hauler, I contracted hauler.
Okay, so you have a
Somebody's-
licensing structure for your haulers and so forth?
Somebody's getting some extra tonnage in there
Yeah.
that is not going through us. I'm sure of it. Because I add up my monthly tonnage every month,
Yeah.
and I don't come up to 1,705 tons.
Well, I followed trucks before to find out where they go. So, I don't know, it's a tough one too.
That's a
And-
lot of
and
difference.
if you have haulers, we had, same thing, we had licensed haulers in town, so they had to get a permit. Our ordinance required our material, again, because we paid the tip fee, so it was, it only made sense for a hauler to go to Eco Maine. So we did have a little bit of say in that, so we would direct the material there. But we know what we have over our history, so I mean, history-wise, you're 1,300 back in 2016, and then you're up to 1,700 now. So I don't know, over the history of that, it looks fairly, you rose gradually through that time, whether that 300 tons, is growth, or that is, I don't know, where your population and what your housing situation is, or if that's
Well, we have,
additional tonnage coming from something
we
else.
have had nearly 100 homes added in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And they do produce waste.
That's 100 ton at minimum, everybody, about a ton of trash, in a household, so it doesn't take long for that. I don't know if the schools are part of that, so you can, it adds up quickly, but again, it depends on how tightly you monitor those things, and there's room for that, for stuff to sneak in. So,
Thank you.
Question on the ash you mentioned about
Yep.
burying that. Is there any composting that goes along?
Composting?
Yeah.
So we don't compost for, there. So what we do on the food waste side of things is we partner with that Agri-Cycle Energy. So again, that's for food waste. So most of the stuff we do for food waste is, commercial based. So restaurants, Hannaford's, we just serve as a transfer station. Comes in, they pay a tip fee, and then Exeter, Agri-Cycle Energy comes down, they load up a big truck, take it back up to their facility, they digest it. They actually have a depackager up there, so if the food waste is in containers, they can actually remove the containers, that packaging source, and then they bring that back in a backhaul to us, comes in as trash and gets burned. We don't do like leaf and yard waste, or anything like that for composting, so.
I was just wondering if they can work in some of that ash into the other.
Well, it's different material in it. So you referred to PFAS situations that go on too. So, there is, you burn it, you're burning everything. You're burning plastics, everything. So we have very strict air requirements for what goes up the stack, and they have to constantly meet EPA requirements for that. That's the certification that I mentioned. But at the same time, it has to go into a secure landfill. So our landfill is lined and so forth. So you wouldn't be able to do that. There is talk of the Portland Water District. There's been some conversations about new technology, about trying to remove PFAS from that sludge, where they actually burn it and they produce what they call a char, which is basically like a really fine ash, that hopefully at some point they could use it in a different product, or that could be landfilled too. But once it goes through that process, that PFAS is actually removed. But it's a big issue for the state, and I think it's going to take some state involvement to make something happen, because I don't know as any one community or any one organization is going to be able to afford what it would cost to do that. There's some smaller examples of this out in California that they're doing, but it's a big issue in Maine. And even in Yarmouth, we had a wastewater treatment plant. We produced a sludge. They started, I think, so this kind of loopholes, so Massachusetts still accepts it. So it's actually being trucked to Massachusetts, where a lot of other communities are going to Norwich Walk. So they're just landfilling it, because there's no other solution for it. But it's gonna come to a head at some point. They're gonna have to do it, because it's a shame to put that in a landfill. It's really, we believe in landfills because there's certain things that have to go there, but let's pull out what really doesn't belong there and try to find solutions for it, and put materials into the right category where they make sense. But right now, that's a cheaper option, and probably the only option for a lot of communities.
Will we be able to see a real comparison of the two, like coming into the owner, or doing a service contract, like the financial part of it and implications long-term, like which one?
You want to take some time and talk about that yourself. It is a little bit of a lift for EcoMaine staff to put that number together like you saw for those communities. I will also say, usually by the time that process starts, if you're interested, by the time you get it through your system and public, it's not uncommon to take a year or more. So that number will change because it's based on the assets.
Okay.
So, what the number, if he gave you a number today, probably within 2 months, it would be something different. It would get you in that ballpark.
Okay.
There's also, you take on some debt, so the new transfer station that they're building, you'd be responsible for that debt piece of that.
Okay.
You don't pick up the debt. What's good about this is like so we have a big landfill will have to be closed out at some point. So you don't take on the debt of 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You start from day one when you come in. So that's another thing that made it attractive to communities that wanted to be part of this. You're not buying into 30 years worth of, responsibility that you didn't contribute to.
Okay.
But moving forward, then you would. So that, and plus again, there's no interest on the loan, basically, to do it. But yes, if you're interested, we could run that number for you.
Okay.
But we'd want to make sure that that's really something you wanted to go down, because it is quite
Takes
involved
time.
to get to that, time-wise to get to it.
Okay.
Any other questions, or?
I don't think so. No?
Great.
Lots of information to digest.
It is. I'll leave these packets here. You're welcome. And again, if you have any other questions, my information's there if you want to get a hold of me. So, great. So thank you very much, folks. I appreciate your time.
All right. We will move on to department reports. We will move on to old business. Review of legal accounts. I did not see any in the warrants this week. Any bills for that?
No, and there is one.
There was one.
Yep, there is one from our new, yep. I think that they both are
For the
with code.
CEO.
CEO,
Yeah.
yeah.
The ones that were
I think these are
last
the
week,
ones.
the ones that
yeah.
came in last week?
Yes, and
Okay.
they both are listed like Stan would. I mean, they're clearly
Yeah. Yep.
noticed for who they were.
Yep. There
I just don't
was,
remember the total, if it was like 1,700 maybe or something.
there was one bill for $1,001 for information down at the, or for litigation down at the business park. And then there was one for $623 for code enforcement. I think that was just a building complaint or a condemning of a property, I'm not sure. But I do know these are both code enforcement bills that have come in.
What was the total again?
The total was $1,625.21. Review of policies, we have to sign the select board meeting agenda policy. We approved that last week, so we'll just sign that. And then review of the notary public policy. This is basically just the fee policy for notary public services provided to the Limerick citizens and non-citizens. I know currently, I am unsure, I don't think people are getting charged for notary services in town. I think we have a couple different notaries in the building that don't charge for the service, as it takes, I'm a notary, it takes less than 3 minutes. I don't know if we want to just change it to say that we'll provide the notary public services, but we can think about it and come back next week.
You could do a free service to Limerick residents and have a mainly anybody that I've notarized for is in Limerick.
Okay,
And I feel as a service, like, it doesn't take away from my job to do it. It's very minimal normally what we're notarized, what I've notarized, if maybe one a week, if that. So I feel like, as a taxpayer, it's a nice kind of perk to have here. But I don't know if you want to change that part and leave the non-resident part, but it's completely up to you guys.
yeah, I think that's fair. Non-residents, a $5 fee, and Limerick residents, it's hard to say. I don't know how many people come in and get stuff notarized. Not a lot, right?
No, it's minimal.
Now, is your notary, your notary is Dottie's?
Julie and Dottie are all notaries, the three of
I
us.
was wondering if Dottie was still one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't counting myself on that number, by the way. But, so yeah, we can verify with the other notary publics in the building, see if they charge. I don't think they do, but I could be wrong.
I don't think anybody would be against that
Yeah.
or against this.
So with that being said, I guess I look for a motion to change the policy to read Limerick residents, it's a free service, and non-residents, it's $5 fee per item.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead with it.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, we will update that and sign that next week. Any update on the municipal parking lot paving update, Howard?
No, we're still waiting on estimated costs.
Okay. Any update on the purchase order policy? I know we had a meeting last Thursday. There's a lot of input given. I don't know if the board has a motion on how they want to proceed. If I know the meeting ran a little bit over and there was still people who were talking about it, but there was a budget committee meeting that night, so I don't know if it's worth hosting another one, if we want to make a motion tonight. I will leave that up to the board.
Can we vote on this next week?
Yep.
Just to review it?
Yeah, absolutely. Deep Vale update. Is there anything new on that, Gail?
Just the award is imminent.
Okay.
What did she say?
The award is imminent. Heat pumps for the 3 town buildings, nothing from Howland yet. Alicia will reach back out
He was super responsive.
the first time, yeah, okay.
So I'm sure he is getting one. I will reach out this week and ask him though to have it for next Monday.
Okay. Mowing contract for town properties. Bids are due by December 1st at noon in the Select Board office. There was one contractor that had some questions on it, and I met with him this evening at 6 and answered the questions to the best of my ability. So there is that. All right, budget information. So the budget committee meeting last week, the chair of the budget committee asked when we were going to have our recommendations and our budgets into them. I told them we would have it into them by this meeting. So we have a bunch of templates that we took home last week, and then some more templates that were given tonight. And so
It might be realistic for you guys to take these and take to the next week, which is still time. There are not a lot of changes. There are some minimal 3.5% increase or staying the same on some of our contractor ones. It's up to you. I just feel
Yeah,
like you might want to take these to review for a week.
yeah, I agree. The budget committee, though, they mentioned that they were due October 1st. So they were wondering why they hadn't had them yet. So, and I said that we are busy. But I think I don't want to rush into it without fully reviewing them. I did.
There's actually, some of them are, you can't do that early. And actually, Julie and I'm gonna ask on Wednesday, we still need to do the workman's comp one because there are 4 payments that we do throughout the year, so I need those from her. And the SRCTV one, like I'm just checking with Patrick on the contract amount. So there, some of the things that you can't.
We still can't do, yeah.
Can't do, like, not all, but you can't do that early on all of
Yep.
them, so.
All right. So once we get those, we can make our recommendations on them.
And they're not making any recommendations, correct?
Not at a meeting that I have been to, so I don't think they're making recommendations on them yet. Howard, were you able to get a hold of Chris?
No, but he left a message with Julie today,
Okay.
and seems he's getting the prices fixed for the computer for Stan.
Okay. Perfect. So hopefully we will see if he wants to renew the contract.
Yeah.
Discussion of a new auditing firm. We reached out for a request for proposal from MMA, and we haven't heard anything back
They
yet.
don't have anything on their website, like, they have a lot of different forms and stuff, or RFP things, they don't have that, so I did reach out to 2 people, but I did not hear back, so I
Okay.
can.
We had that list last week, or?
Yeah, we have the list, but you wanted an RFP
We wanted to look for a
from
request for
MMA.
proposal for wording.
Oh, that's right, okay.
So that's what I reached out. You're also gonna see on, not to go back, but on a couple of these budgets, they're not 100% complete because I don't have an auditor amount in the professional and legal. And the public buildings doesn't have a mowing one, like, we can't finish those 2 until we have
Yep.
approved those.
Okay.
So, just so you know.
Discussion of holiday decorations. Jen will do them the same cost as last year for $500.
It was like 45 or something. So that is Tibbetts Park, here, and Bandstand.
Okay. So is there a motion to allow Jen $500 to do the holiday decorations of the town properties?
Moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Sign new ordinances from November ballot, just some changes that were passed at the election, so we will sign those after the meeting.
Just needed name changes.
What was that?
They just needed the names, it was just the name
Okay.
changes.
Risk Reduction Grant. We're waiting on Minuteman to respond.
I just want them to confirm, the total that they had given us to do them was 3,600. So, it is over a little bit, over the grant that we got. So we certainly can adjust that, but I would like to know first of all if that stands still, which it should, but I just wanted them to confirm that.
Okay. Vote on the abatement from 11/10/2025, so we just need to vote on that. That was my mistake. J. O'Donnell approved the abatement, we just need to vote, and we signed it. Yeah, so I look for a motion to approve that abatement.
So moved. Seconded.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor? All right, and SOP grant update, Gail.
By the first, Gail Libby, Revitalization Committee. By the 1st of December, we will probably have our award. It's a paperwork issue in the purchasing department in Augusta, but it's just a form change and somebody's been on vacation. So that will start the process. And I don't expect any invoices in 2025. I think the first one will be engineering, and probably that will be in January at the earliest. I need an SOP. We need an SOP. This town needs an SOP. I was told by this board that it's not just an individual grant that could be under $1 million. It's the collective amount of any federal grants that will cause a unified audit. We did not do well in this town with the paperwork that was required for the unified audit for the fire station and Hollandville. The paperwork was not in the files in this town. They were relying on files that I had kept for my own personal just committee work. I supplied those documents, invoices, okay, invoices of $300,000. So they weren't easily retrievable, so nobody could find them, whatever that meant to all of you. So we need an SOP. We're still waiting on $1 million to be recognized for Hollandville. I have nightmares over that, frankly. I can't understand it. I've put a Freedom of Information request for a copy of the entries, the adjusting entries for this town, so I can see if I can find that entry that hasn't been made. Just one, I'm looking for one, maybe two, maybe three. Okay, so I don't know if I'll get that, okay, but I gotta tell you, I'm hearing grants are being awarded here, and some of them are federal, and we don't have an SOP, and we need a CPA to do this. So if our auditor that we have on board right now can't do it, can we please hire a CPA to come and sit with us and with Julie to nail this down? Because I lose track. People lose track when things start just cascading. So I'm pleading with you to accommodate this request, because I don't know the T accounts that are used in this accounting system. I don't know TRIO, all right? I can tell you that it should be this and it should be that, but it's words, not account numbers. And we need the account numbers to write on the purchase orders that we are going to generate. And I think they're being generated by people right now, and I have no idea what this will mean for a single audit next year. Okay, at the end, or 2027 in January. So it's really important, okay? And I'd appreciate some help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that is all we have under old business. Moving on to new business. You wanna?
Got some bad news today. Town of Limerick lost a good friend, longtime road commissioner, Bob Richardson. He passed, and don't know what else to say, but we'll miss him a lot. And for a long time, he's worked for the town as the road commissioner, and he's done an excellent job, so.
Yep.
Sorry to the family.
Yes, very sorry to the Richardson family, and if there's anything we can do, please reach out. Bob Richardson was a road commissioner when I moved to the town, and new young kid, and he helped me out in a couple different ways that he probably doesn't even know he did, but he did. So that is very sad news.
Sure is.
We have to sign the special town meeting warrant. We have 7 copies of that warrant to sign, so we will sign that after the meeting. Reassigning liaisons to the board. So with the 2 board members that have resigned, we have a bunch of department liaisons that need to be reassigned. The ones off the top of my head that I know are fire, transfer station, code enforcement. Alicia, did you know what else John and Bernie had? I know Bernie had the CEO and code,
I can take that one.
library.
Judy and Dee Dee, didn't
Yeah, I think John had,
he? Yeah, Judy and Dee Dee.
okay. So I would, I'm just trying to think of, I can do the transfer station and the library, if that is okay with the board. Then we have Judy and Dee Dee, the CEO and the fire chief.
I can take those 2. CEO, fire
I'll
chief.
take the CEO and the fire chief. You want Dee Dee and
I don't care.
Judy?
So in other words, I take the whole building.
You got the whole building. You got your work cut out for you, Howard.
Except
Right
Cindy.
here.
Cindy's got,
Cindy has me,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
all right, perfect. Thank you. Do we need a motion on that? All right, I make a motion, we make those changes that were just stated.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? All right. We need to sign and approve the Animal Welfare Society agreement. This is a yearly contract between the Animal Welfare Society and the fees that we pay for our animal control officer to bring the animals to the Animal Welfare Society. Is that correct?
This goes in the animal control officer budget.
Budget.
Actually, it's very minimal increase from last year.
And before anybody asks, it is a state law, and they do it on a per capita for the population of Limerick, so
So the per capita rate is,
1.46. Done.
the per capita rate?
okay. I just didn't get what you were saying, that's
Oh,
all.
yeah.
You have to have a contract with an animal shelter. That's
You
state.
heard from a animal control person? Okay.
And so the amount is 3,567 person population times a capita rate of 1.46 per capita. The contract amount is for $5,207.82. So I look for a motion to approve this and sign it.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Then we also, I know it's not on the agenda, but I do have,
Just out of curiosity, Wade, where's that money go?
That runs the whole outfit down there.
Is that-
For
that's in-
have you ever been down there?
oh.
It
This is
just
down in
allows her to
Kennebunk?
take the animals, right?
Just it
Like-
allows it,
Anything she gets in.
yeah, any strays or anything like that, and they have different programs down there that people from the town can go. They have, they have the spay and neuter program down there.
That's specifically for Kennebunk.
That's just for Kennebunk.
Now, what do we do as far as, we doing anything with Westbrook or any of those places? Or not? Okay. We used to, I know.
We used to.
Way back.
Way back. Way back when I started.
Okay.
All right, we did have the bill from Great Falls come in for the work that was done up at the fire station for the pipe elevation, or for the pipe to be fixed for the retention pond. The total bill was $6,939. We split it in half. This was agreed upon. We split it in half. So our portion is $3,469.50. There was some question about if this could be paid out of the fire department budget, and there was not.
When we first talked about it, was a motion to pay up to $47.50, because I think we thought the bill was going to be in the $8,000 range, and pay out of contingency. And Bernie at that point thought that he could see what Vinnie might have in his budget. Fire budget is pretty tight at this point, so if there is money in contingency, it certainly would be better for them. And I think there's only one thing that's come out of that.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll review, make sure there's money in the contingency account, and come back with a vote next week.
Yeah, and there's only been one thing taken out of that, which was the $15,000 amount that it started with.
Okay, yep, and the bill is due December 7th, so we have time.
Wasn't there some account that still had some funds in it from that project?
I don't think so. No, yeah.
Bernie said
I
that.
think that,
No,
I think there is, but
Yeah, that's what I want to find out.
we can look. We can look this week.
Yeah, we can look at the reports, and Alicia, if you want to give a copy of this to Howard so he can meet with Julie?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tuck that aside. There was some other, I think that is it.
Might just, well, JP was, I think, the only, was that the only, yeah, that was it.
JP Carroll Fuel Company sent out a letter. JP Carroll Fuel Company has merged with Eastern Propane. And I think every resident who has JP Carroll has gotten a copy of the same letter in the mail. I know I did. And yeah, it says that they're still gonna maintain their promises that they've kept so far. The contract amounts that we have signed with them for heating fuel for the town properties and general assistance, they're going to honor those prices, and everything's going to stay, as of now, everything's going to stay operating as normal. Still same phone number, same name, still make your checks out to them. Everything is still the same. With that being said, I open it for hearing of citizens.
Good evening, Sean Mackey, 11 Division. Just trying to look for a status on 3 Division. We're here at the beginning of the month. You guys said 7 days. That piece of shit house would be boarded up. I keep getting lip service from Stan that they're trying to serve him papers. It's been 2 weeks.
The update that I received today was that the sheriff's office has still been unable to serve.
They're in there right now. When I came over here, you guys said no open flame heating devices allowed in that house. We took a picture on the way by. Windows lit right up, flame flickering. You can see heaters going in there. Saturday, all day, she's carrying bags and bags of trash out of the house into that cover-it that's got the pop-up camper in it. The trash, again, is 4 feet deep on the damn deck. You can see it from the road. Am I going to get a discount in my taxes because I have to live next to that crap? You know, we've been dealing with this for months, and we're getting nowhere because people are like, oh, they're inside. We can't do nothing about it. You know, what about us abutters? We're dealing with rats the size of Yorkshire Terriers. Kids can't go outside and play, and you got 2 crackheads that are inside hiding, and nobody wants to do anything about it.
I mean, I don't think that's the case, that nobody wants to do anything about
Well,
it.
it sure seems that, because they're like,
Okay.
oh, we can't serve them. All weekend, they're right outside. They're playing the game of, they know the gentleman that serves for the sheriff's office works Monday to Friday. You know, why can't?
I can understand that it's been frustrating. I know it's very much different. I worked in affordable housing, and the sheriff, the people would never be around when the sheriff was available to serve. And I know in affordable housing, they can do 3 attempts and leave it taped to the door. But I doubt this is different, as it's almost condemning the house. I don't know. I spoke to Stan on the phone today. Stan said that he contacted the serving sheriff and stated that when the next time the sheriff attempts to serve, Stan will go down with him and have them come out of the house. I don't know how he plans to do that.
So where did it come about that we had to serve them the papers? Because there was no mention of that at the public hearing.
I am unsure.
You know, the town's attorney never mentioned anything about that. It was, he told all of us, from right now, they have 7 days. Then after that, it's going to get boarded up. Then they have 30 days to appeal and make appointments with Stan to get into that house. But now we are 2 weeks into it. We've made 0 progress. We're dealing with the same issues. You know, it's a ticking time bomb, just waiting for them to friggin', have one of them open heating sources ignite off with the amount of stuff and chemicals in that house. You know, Chad's house is closer than mine, but I mean, that's going to be a tinderbox when that thing goes off. Need to get something done. I'm a very easy person to get along with, but I'm starting to get pissed off. You know, I've dealt with this long enough. You know, when I drive by and she flips me off, she swears at me, cusses at me, I'm all done. You know, I pay my taxes every year. I have for years. I'm done dealing with it. Need some progress. Need something to happen.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can speak with Stan. I know that he is trying his best to get it done. I don't know, other than state statute, what else we can do.
Why do we need the sheriff's department to?
He has to be legally served to get out.
Stan's a constable. Last time I knew a constable could legally serve the papers. So we're relying on the sheriff's department, and who knows how many people he has to serve in a day, when we have a constable in an office down the hallway that deals with these people on a regular basis.
He has to get him to the door. He just can't kick the door in and give it to him. That's the issue right now, is get him to come to the door.
Yeah, I understand that, but Stan has more opportunity being in the town and in and about doing his normal day-to-day business versus a guy that's, serving, hundreds of people in a day, legal papers. I'm just asking, why can't Stan do it? Why do we have to have sheriff's department do it?
Well, before I had Stan go there by himself, I would make sure that he took a sheriff with him anyways. So even if Stan served him, he's going to have a sheriff with him one way or the other, so.
This day and age, it's really not a good idea to go alone.
Oh, I get that, didn't. All right, guess we're getting nowhere.
Is there any other hearing of citizens? Steve?
Yeah, Steve McLean. Couple of things. The current auditing firm, any update on them? No. Okay. I mean, the thing is, the budget committee asked for all our stuff there for October 1st. Will be December 1st and still don't have it. Alicia mentioned it tonight. There's some things we can't figure out till we get the auditing all done.
I got a note to call him in the morning.
Okay. I mean, we're pressing on December here. And at some point, the select board is going to say to the budget committee, hey, you guys got to finish your work, when October 1st, we should have been working on it. The other thing, any update on the camera up at the lookout?
I asked John for the information. He said that he would get it over to me. Is there any other hearing of citizens? I'm seeing none. I look for a motion to adjourn.
Don't move. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? All right, thank you.